How's it going, guys? It's me, back here again with another legit review. Yeah, probably don't get that reference. Not gonna edit this out though. Too lazy today. It's a rainy day. It's one of those days. So yeah, Palm Springs. I want to talk about it. It's one of my favorite movies from 2020, which is why I'm talking about it now, weeks later after it came out. If you haven't seen it, it's on Hulu. I highly recommend it. It's really good. It's funny. It's heartfelt. Very depressing as well, but it's so good. I very much recommend it. So, let's begin now. If you haven't seen the movie is about these two characters experiencing the same day over and over again. That's right. We have another Groundhog Day on our hands, but this time instead of one character experiencing this infinite loop, it's two characters experiencing it, which makes for a very interesting dynamic, in my opinion. And the exchange between these two characters is very interesting, but going back to the synopsis, these two characters are experiencing the same day over and over again, and we have Andy Samberg's character, who is someone who gave up on trying to leave this infinite loop because it's been so long that he's been in this loop that he just stopped fighting, stopped caring. He even lost his track of time and his sense of identity. He doesn't even remember who he is. And we have this other character, Kristen. We have Kristen's character, who is the woman who played the mother in How I Met Your Mother, so you probably recognize her. Her character is only recently experiencing the same day over and over again. And the difference between her and Andy is that since she was recently in this loop, obviously she wants to get out. But for a brief moment in time, she decided to live life like Andy Samberg's character and just not caring and just shoving the issues deep down and forget about it. But the difference between Andy and her is that she cannot go through this again and again because she made a horrible, let's just say she made a horrible mistake on the day that she entered the loop, and she has to experience that mistake over and over again, and it just became so tiring for her that she just decided to once and for all try to leave the infinite loop with or without Andy's character. Now, there's actually more to it. I just gave you, like, let's say I just gave you a platter, just a little meat, but this is a meat buffet. Trust me, this is a meat buffet. But yeah, there's actually more, and I don't want to spoil it, so that's gonna be it for the synopsis. But here is like the main reason why I want to make this video, which is I want to talk about why I really love this movie. The reason why I really love this movie is because Andy Samberg's character kind of touched me. Well, not kind of, completely. It completely touched me because he just became so relatable. Here we have this character who has been experiencing this infinite loop, and he just gave up and stopped. He stopped even trying to get out and just decided to go with the flow and just keep living this infinite loop and just not care. And it's been so long that, like I said, he forgot who he was. He doesn't even know for how long he's been in this infinite loop. And then Kristen's character, since she was so recently put into this infinite loop, she's more eager to leave. And she did try to live by Andy's character's philosophy, but she just couldn't, because every time she wakes up from every time she the day restarts, she has to wake up and be reminded of the horrible mistake she made on the day that she came into the infinite loop. So with her, she just couldn't swallow the inevitability of this infinite loop, just like Andy Samberg did. And I feel like that dynamic is very interesting because I think you can interpret it in so many ways. Because you can easily say that Samberg's character could be a representation of nihilism, and the movie just kind of pokes a hole into nihilism because he's basically living like a nihilist where he just doesn't care about anything or anyone, and he's just there. He lives by no morality. He just really does not give a shit. And you have Kristen's character who is just trying to get out of this mindset, and she obviously can't live that way since she has to constantly be reminded of the shitty decisions she made. That it just forces her to rethink that whole philosophy on nihilism, that she just has to leave this infinite loop and just try to make things right. And unfortunately, in Samberg's case, he just can't, because it's just been so long, and he's just become so comfortable with living this ideology, living in this infinite loop, that he's just too afraid to leave it because he doesn't know what might happen. He just doesn't know. And it's so weird because even though he doesn't care about anything, and he really just, you really get that sense that he doesn't care about anything, but at the same time, he's obviously scared of death, which is one of the reasons why he doesn't want to leave the infinite loop, because he doesn't know what's going to happen. He doesn't know, so there's no certainty as to what happens when they try to leave the infinite loop. So obviously he's too scared to do it. But it kind of pokes a hole into nihilism, because that's how most nihilists live by. They act like they don't care about the inevitability of death and how everything is just inevitable, and we just live thinking that there's no control over this life that we're living. But at the same time, they do kind of care in a way, and they're too afraid to care, which is, I don't know. I just think that Andy Samberg is just a perfect representation of how contradictory most nihilists are, in my opinion. And yeah, that's like the main reason why I really love this movie. Another reason is because you can easily also interpret this as, you can interpret Andy Samberg as like the older generation just accepting that, you know, the injustices that have been happening on the planet are just inevitable and you can't do anything about it, while Kristen's character is a representation of the younger generation who obviously haven't experienced these injustices for as long as they are, but they still have a sense of we need to come together and, you know, get out of this infinite loop or injustices. And you could easily interpret it that way. There's so many ways you could interpret this movie that it just makes it so, it's such a like, the writing is so great that you could easily interpret this in so many ways, in politics or idea or in just philosophy and a lot of things actually. And yeah, that made me kind of obsessed with it. But yeah, I think that's how. I mean, I think there's more to it, but if you want to see me go more in depth, then I'll just link my Letterboxd review on this movie on the description if you want to, you know, read more about this line of thinking that I have over the movie. But yeah, that's like mostly what I really love about this movie. Flaws? Let's see what flaws. I think the only flaw I think this movie I think it has only two flaws, which is one, the soundtrack. Even though I really, really love synth music, I really love 80s aesthetic and all that stuff, I feel like this movie kind of forced that aesthetic in, since it's what's popular right now. And yeah, it just felt kind of forced in my opinion. And the other thing would be the conflict between the two main characters, because unfortunately, since this is a rom-com, they kind of had to create this conflict between the two so they can have, like, you know, the conflict, and then the, you know, the breakup where they just go their separate ways, and you see them having like flashbacks about their time together and all that stuff. You know how most rom-coms do. They need to have the breakup, you know, they just need to have it. And unfortunately, this movie put that trope in, and unfortunately they didn't do it in a natural way, and it just ended up feeling forced, and it kind of made Andy Samberg more into the bad guy. And I don't know, I just feel like both characters are equally flawed in my opinion, but the movie felt like it kind of took Kristen's character's side, kind of, and I don't know, that didn't sit right with me in my opinion. And yeah, that's kind of it. Those are the two flaws that I see in the movie. Now, it doesn't make it a bad movie though. I think the movie is amazing. In fact, I gave it a 5.5 stars, and it's just so amazing. I probably said the word amazing a bunch of times, but that's just the way it is. It's amazing. And like I said in the beginning, I really recommend it. It's really good. It's really good. I cannot recommend this more. In fact, if you're a fan of Happy Death Day as I am, then you probably will love this movie, I think. I mean, it's not made by anyone from Happy Death Day, but it kind of has the same vibes. So if you really like the vibes of the first and second Happy Death Day, then you're gonna get kind of the same vibes with this one, and it's just amazing. There I go. I said it again. Amazing. But it is amazing. Like I said, it's one of my favorites from 2020. Yeah, I think that's it. So like always, please like and subscribe. Also, please share this video, and I'll see you in the next one.